Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we will present about workshop sand casting and lost form casting. This is our group member. The first one is me, Muhammad Saifuddin bin Ahmad Karahi. The second one is Muhammad Hazim bin Jumali. And the third one is Muhammad Zaim Ridwan bin Zehar. So, the next objective for the workshop. So, the objective for sand casting is to understanding the theory of sand casting workshop before doing it. To observe the process of sand casting workshop. Be able to create a metallic object using a pattern that had given. Be able to inspect the result for visible defects. To increase skill in sand casting workshop. So the next objective for lost form casting is to learn overall technique in lost form casting process. To create or design jetting system. To determine the best design for the polystyrene pattern. To do inspection on product defects, how it happened and the solution. To understand the molten metal process using crucible furnace. The next is safety guidelines. The first is always wear safety goggles, gloves and thick clothes. The second one is use a safety suit when pouring molten metal. The third one is use an iron brush to clean the surface after the pattern hardened into metal. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. I will present to you about a procedure for sand casting and lost form casting. Firstly, we need to prepare the green sand. Mix ratio is 7:3:1, where sand is 7, 3 is clay and 1 is water. After that, choose the product model pattern, and I think for our group we get a big product mold pattern. Next, we should pour some putting powder on the pattern before packing the green sand. For the green sand, we need to sift the green sand before entering the flask and pack the pattern into the sand mold. Make sure the sprue has been placed. Then make a pouring resin channel to the sprue before pouring the molten metal. After we finish that, take off the sprue and product model pattern to start pour the molten metal into sand mold. We have to allow time for metal to solidify around 30 minutes. Lastly, break up the mold to remove casting and separate getting and riser system. So, we continue for the lost form casting. There is not much change from the procedure and sand casting. Firstly, prepare the product mold from polystyrene. After that, join the getting system of polystyrene model using glue and let the joint dry. And put the polystyrene model into the mold box and pack the pattern with silica sand. Make a pouring resin channel to the sprue before pouring the molten metal. After that, we have to start pouring the molten metal and allow time for metal to solidify around 30 minutes. Finally, remove the metal part from the mold. So that all for the part of the procedure for sand casting and lost form casting. Thank you. For the defect on our workpiece for sand casting, there are many defects that happen on the workpiece. There are some acid metal around the workpiece. This happened because the sand had been collapsed when the drag box and cap box put together. The sand are not fully compact when we put the drag and cap box together. So the molten metal will fill the empty space that left by the collapsed sand. There are some small holes on the surface on the workpiece. This happened because because when the molten metal pour in the flask, the sand collapse and block the metal to fill the pattern smoothly. This happen because the sand are attached with the pattern. When the pattern pull out from the flask, when we lift the flask, we have to put it down carefully and slowly. When it hit hardly on the ground, the compactness of sand will low and the sand will easily collapse. When we pour the molten metal into the flask, we have to pour slowly to make sure the molten metal are fill the edge of the pattern. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Azim. I will present about the defect that had in our workshop, lost from casting. The defect for our workshop, the defect of our workpiece is our pattern are damages or distorts easily because of its low strength before go to dating system. Next, the cause of our defect is due to insufficient of a molten metal. So, what's the idea to overcome or solve this problem? Firstly, make sure the material is in a good condition and be careful when placing it on the gating system. Secondly, do a 2 gating system because for our workpiece, we do a 1 gating system. Last but not least, on the left side of the slide, we add a picture of our workpiece and other theme of workpiece to compare our defect on the making it. Next, I will present about the advantages of the sand casting. First of all, by doing the method of the sand casting, it can be used to manufacture parts in a nearly all metal materials, including those with a high melting point. Next, it can also casting all size and weight. Other than that, it is low production cost due to the green sand that used in the sand casting is reusable. Besides that, it is a simple production process, and lastly, it is a wider material choice. Next, I will present about the advantages for loss from casting. Firstly, it can casting with the highest dimensional accuracy. Besides that, it is easy to use. Next, it is save times due to the production can be done below 1 hour on making it. Last but not least, it's a low production cost due to the material that needed on making it is affordable, such as polystyrene. So that's all for me and my team. Thank you.